So what does it mean for a company to mass customize successfully? Together with Fabrizio Salvador, whom I introduced at the very beginning, we came up with a capability framework for mass customization. And this is the content of this longer module. And perhaps it's the most important framework you have to acquire when thinking about mass customization, as these are really the skills a company has to master to mass customize successfully. But as I said in the earlier module at the end, it is not just useful to know these capabilities if you really provide a custom product. They also may help you to do a standard product offering more efficiently or more customer focused. We'll explore this later. So the idea behind is a typical one of the resource-based view of the firm, a very famous theory in strategic management. And the idea is that a lot of companies have resources. And often the tangible resources are quite the same. It's the intangible resources, the assets, the IP, that really make a company specific. But what on the long term really differentiates a company are these capabilities, the ability to utilize your resources. And those are much more difficult to copy. And some of these capabilities perhaps even turn into core competences driving competitive advantage. And in a paper in MIT Sloan Management Review with Fabrizio and Pablo Martí de Holland, another scholar, we explored these capabilities and we call it cracking the code of mass customization. So what's the code of mass customization? Well, in this slide, inspired by Joseph Pine, is perhaps one of the most important in this entire video module. What does it mean to mass customize? Well, let's say we have a portfolio of customers, and these customers somehow buy our customers. It's our market segment. And what we offer them is the so-called portfolio of capabilities and resources. And this is what we call solution-based development, and that's the first main capability. Solution-based development means we have to determine what are the options we offer to customers customizable, and which in one feature, how much choice really do I provide. The second capability is what we call choice navigation. So out of our segment of customers, we have an individual customer who wants a specific solution. And he, perhaps with a configurator or in a store, sees all the solution space. And so he now has to be enabled to find really this configuration out of that solution space that fits his personal desires. And this is a capability of choice navigation, helping customers really to finding the product configuration, the product specification that really corresponds best to their specific needs. And finally, but last but not least, it's robust process design. It's the ability of the company to produce and deliver what a customer selected. And the idea is that whatever a customer selected out of the solution space, whatever configuration it is, as long as it is from the predefined solution space, it can be produced as if it all would be the same. Let's explore these capabilities a little bit more closer. And let's start with robust process design. It comes at the end, but as I explained earlier, these were really the intellectual underpinnings of mass customization. As at the beginning, scholars really cared about how to produce this custom stuff with mass production efficiency. And I could spend hours and hours about it. Actually, my entire PhD, I have it here, where I don't know how many, probably too many pages, 400 pages about this mass customized manufacturing and flexible manufacturing system. So just very briefly, what's the basic idea of robust process design? The definition is that robust process design is the capacity of an organization to reuse and or recombine its resources to address variability in customers' requirements. And doing so to ensure resource efficiency and delivery reliability as in a mass production system. It's a little bit complicated, but that's a task of professors to make simple things complicated. So the idea is really that whatever is predetermined, as I said earlier, can be produced as if it would be the same. And how can this be done? With three sub-capabilities. One is flexible automation, robust process and product modularity, and adaptive human resources. Very briefly on the last one, as I don't have time to cover this. Despite all advances in technology, we nowadays know that in most mass customization systems we still need the human factor, the person, the employee in the factory, as in the end there's nothing more flexible than human beings. There's a lot of success factors and principles how to steer these human beings in a mass customization factory. But for reasons of time, I just want to address the first two capabilities. And if you study business administration, you know that you can explain the entire business administration field with this simple graph and two cutting lines. You only have to put the right dimensions on the axis. So this is a traditional picture of manufacturing. And traditionally, we said if we here have the lot size and here is the cost, what would these curves represent? The larger the lot size, the smaller the variable cost. Why? Per unit. So this would be unit cost. Well, as a fixed cost we need to establish the manufacturing system can be divided among many more products. But which costs are going up the more we produce? Correct. These are the inventory costs. As the more we produce in one lot, probably the more we have to store in our inventory as the demand is more equally distributed over time. So as a business student, you calculated all this formula to find the optimal lot size, like here, should be of course in the crossing, should be here, where the total cost of the unit cost in the inventory cost is in its minimum. So it's the old picture. If we see what flexible manufacturing does, if we now introduce flexible manufacturing, how are these curves changing? Think about. Well, the promise of traditional flexible manufacturing system was that this curve is really moving to the lower left corner. As the definition of a flexible manufacturing system is that it has very low or even no switching cost. And then these costs diminish, and so the optimal lot size, as the inventory costs are not influenced by this, so the optimal lot size gets smaller and smaller until we come to an optimal lot size of 1. That's the traditional idea of flexible manufacturing. And an industry that perfectly illustrates this is digital printing. But before, let's really explore one other fundamental principle behind. As often, we really can't go directly to really a lot size of 1. So another underlying principle of organizing robust processes is that of postponement, or the order decoupling point. As the more I do customer specific, the higher the likelihood that I'm able to meet individual customer demands. Also, the lower the risk of unwanted inventory. However, the more I have to do for each individual customer, the longer my lead time, the longer my delivery time, and if I don't have a perfect flexible manufacturing system, also the higher my switching cost. Or the other way around, the more I prefabricate, the more I take from stock if a customer places an order, the lower my lead times, but the higher my inventory cost and also inventory risk. And so we have two opposing forces which are fighting here. And one of the core ideas of mass customization is really to set this order decoupling point, or we call it the idea of postponement, meaning that we postpone, wait, with some activities until a customer has placed an order, but that other activities has been produced before. And this is where we can distinguish two major and some subcategories of robust process design. So the more we go to the left, meaning the less we prefabricate, the more we do customer order specific, the more we come to a system of engineer to order. In an engineer to order system, it's even that the solution space is defined or extended for a specific customer. Often we do mass customization with a made-to-order system. All the components are predefined, but only if an order comes in, it's being produced. The automotive industry is using an assemble-to-order system, as is the PC or the laptop industry. Once you place an order, the laptop is configured to your demand, but all the components are normally already on stock and pre-manufactured. There are also some strategies, however, which we only address briefly, which start in the customer domain after the product has been sold. They are match-to-order or locate-to-order systems, meaning that customization is achieved by just locating an existing product in a large assortment or market of products and just bringing the customer the right product he wants, but out of the assortment of existing products. And there are even some adaptable products that after sales can be customized to consumer demands. So this, if we go into manufacturing, we call hard customization. We don't know, perhaps it's harder to do. And this here is called soft customization, as it's very often software that is behind and is a little bit softer to execute if customization is done after manufacturing has ended. So, with this in mind, the structure along different degrees of postponement or decoupling point, we now can address back the idea of flexible manufacturing, where optimally a lot size of 1 is perfect. In an industry that shows this perfect to this flexible digital manufacturing in the book printing industry. As in the book printing industries, companies like Gabler, a German publisher of my PhD thesis, for many, many years already realized it's cheaper for us to produce this book if someone orders it instead of having it in stock. And actually, if you buy a trade book, a specialized book on Amazon, chances are very high that the book does not exist in a warehouse, but that it's just printed on demand with a big machine like illustrated here, and it's actually faster than picking the product from stock. So these flexible manufacturing systems in book printing are a perfect example. PDF file in, even a hardcover book comes out. And this ability was then brought into the true mass customization system by companies like Lulu. What are they doing? Well, Lulu realized that traditionally these nice machines here could only be accessed like from big publishing houses. But they said, with regard to technology, this machine does not care if it prints 100 times or 1 million times the same book or 1 million times a different book. It's always the same cost. So they now enable publishers, authors like me, to really control the same physical machine like the big publishing houses and self-publish my books. And it's a perfect mass customization system, as on top of this flexible automation, you really have process modularity. As along the process of publishing a book, the different individual steps of the layout. Of course, first you have to write the book, but then after layouting, deciding for a hard or soft cover, placing the book in different stores, thinking about color, the size, and so on. And this is what you all do by yourself and self-serving on Lulu. And once you have your book on the server, you press a button and it's immediately available worldwide in all the bookstores you want to have. So this is a book I published recently with a colleague, the MC500, published with Dominik Walcher, a dear colleague, where we compared 500 mass customization sites. And this book now is self-published, as for us, it's really much more flexible and also much cheaper and also more profitable by using this very robust process of Lulu to do this book. And as a consumer, you may know these books. That's a sample by Sever. You know these picture books and photo books. They really look like perfect picture books, but they're just produced in lot size of 1 using exactly this high-end manufacturing system.